All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Associated Guests. I, as always, am your host, Alpha Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. And today, TDS. I was actually going to try to watch this over the weekend, but it was bad enough getting through it once. I don't think I could have done it a second time for the actual show, which is why I should just watch things for the first time for the show instead of instead of looking into some of these things. At least the ones that are mostly shock value. All the new stuff I should watch before, but all the shock value stuff, no. First time for everything. We'll get into some DonP Bongwater. He dropped a new one. We'll get into a little bit of Rev Says Deku with apparently some of the modern audience is siding with PlayStation for some reason. And then we'll round it off with probably Stephen Crowder talking about the top 5 myths about the Founding Fathers. And possibly get into Brian Shapiro openly lying on Timcast about Charlie Kirk. Let's get into it.
It's
Who
cool.
did you choose to be a family?
Hold on.
Your parents named you that?
My
Hold on, that was kind of
chosen-
cool.
Your parents
anyway, I'm done,
named
sorry.
you that?
My chosen family did.
Chosen family?
It's
Who did
cool.
you choose to be a family?
Well,
I absolutely cannot stand dumbasses who think that they're the smartest, coolest thing ever. Like, just if you've watched this, the actual Financial Audit show, she is so confident in her inability to know anything. Like, it's the fact that she knows nothing, Jon Snow, and feels or thinks that she knows everything is very telling.
What's
in the queer
that?
community, yeah, you don't always get to maintain your most close relatives, your blood relatives.
Huh.
so-
It almost feels like a cult. Excommunicate yourself from the non-believers so you are easier to control.
You
It's
know,
scary how a lot of this
a
stuff
cult.
overlaps.
like
Well,
you
did they
build.
dismiss you?
No.
Well, it sounds like you maintain them.
I do not speak with my parents.
You
Yeah.
chose.
Yeah.
They did not choose.
Yeah.
Their decisions have made our relationship what it is today.
Your decisions. Look, this is the copium. Like, I've seen this. I've had friends join cults because I'm from the Bible Belt, and pretty much anything that breaks you from the norm, people will jump onto because they're fucking bored.
What did
This
they?
is exactly what people in cults say. I want to maintain a thing, but they do not want to send with me to this other thing. So obviously,
Yeah.
they
So I had to cut them loose because they just and these are you'll see them sway their heads like the fart smellers from South Park. They'll just be like, and I think on a higher level than most. Like, you see this with people like Brittany Simmons or Simons, whatever the fuck her name is. She thinks that she's a fifth level thinker or whatever the fuck, and she's just a woke leftist. Like, I used to think that there was hope for her because she was interesting and funny and cute and hot. You know, she's very hot, but no, it's just all these pseudo intellectuals. They're just dipshit leftist, just loving the smell of their own farts. That's all it is.
I just met these people, and we share the same.
They with their politics, they do the same thing that they accused the Christian right of doing to them when I was growing up. Like, that's literally it. Because a lot of, and everyone who's religious knows, old Chastity from church, or old, what's her name, old Adrian from church, or Susan from church, wink, who doesn't care about salvation, doesn't care about any of the church things, just cares about holding her relationship with, let's face it, the church and the pastor and her position at the church more than God, the whole reason that you're supposed to be there in the first fucking place. And it shows. And this is what these people are. They are literally, just like I always say, they are the same people The same people that called me a faggot 15, 20 years ago are now the same people calling me a trans and homophobe. They're just using current religion, current popular religious belief to elevate themselves in society. And that's literally it. It's all clout chasing. They don't care about anything except for themselves.
Virtues and values we get
And people who make them feel better about themselves as well.
social media. So obviously I side with them over the people that actually raised me and changed my diaper and made me who I am today.
Choose.
They chose extremism over their child.
Cutting off your family.
Anyone who says child instead of kid, you can tell that these are the same kinds of people. They chose extremism over their child. Their child.
Is the most extreme thing you can do, and the Trump
sorry.
The cult-like behavior of agree with everything I do top to bottom, or else I can't affiliate with you. Which is sad because I have buddies from my old job, just due to his career, had to leave California and go to Texas. And I don't think he was ever very political, but he did like a lot of things over there with two-way and the freedom and just everything. How like, I was always taught that to villainize the right. But I kind of agree with him a lot. And he would say some things that were kind of positive about Trump on social media. A lot of his longtime friends and families, because this guy's Mexican, would say, I don't even know you anymore. You went to Texas, now you're over. I gotta cut you off because you believe these things. It's like, what the heck? I'm just telling you about my lived experience, and yet, because it doesn't align with all their far left leaning values, we have to excommunicate you.
And what's really funny is the right has literally become what we wanted the right to be 10 or 15 years ago. They are very much, until probably the last 2 or 3 years, vastly more accepting of the LGBT community. Vastly. Most of them don't really give a fuck if you're gay. Honestly, and even if they do, they shut the fuck up about it. Again, until recently, because it caught that fever pitch. The same fever pitch that happened on the other side 20, 30 years ago. And I really don't want it to go back to the way it was. I mean, the midpoint, sure. The mid-2000s were amazing. And with the technology we have of today, could have been even more amazing. With as streamlined as a lot of things are now, I wish that that there would be certain companies that were sticking to AI, and then certain companies developing RAM specifically would be just for computers, and they would both make probably about the same amount of money. But everyone wants to jump on AI. And honestly, I mean, while I like having more diversity in such things, more options, at the same time, it's only options of one thing. And those options of one thing are taking away from all the other things. A lot of those things are taking away from, it's getting to where people can't have home computers anymore. At least not up-to-date new ones.
This is the blue hair. Got it. Okay. Which usually qualifies towards more extreme people. Usually, what's their extremism?
I saw online someone said it was like a video of someone at a high-class pool party. It's like looked like everybody's all wearing white linen pants or bikinis, and everybody's looking very classy. And they say, funny how the more money you make, the less people with blue hair you meet. And it was sad because I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? Me living in LA, you meet a lot of what do you call it, septum piercing people, and you meet a lot of people with weird purple, pink, blue hair. When I got to a place that has more affluent people, it's almost not even there. And when you do,
which again, I don't care about hair coloring. Back in the day, hair coloring just meant that you were approaching someone who was pretty cool, pretty chill. These days, it's some of the most uppity, up their own ass people you could ever come across. Yes, that's a double entendre.
Do see them, they stick out like a sore thumb. You're like, okay, this person does not fit their surroundings, and obviously they're being judged right now.
Their extremes are just not very minority inclusive, despite what they.
What is the largest who is the biggest minority? Not biggest, the smallest minority on the planet. What percentage of the planet Earth is white? Blonde hair, blue eyes, red hair. Most people think it's like 80% of the planet. It's like 5% of the planet.
Yeah.
And in a couple years, it'll be even less. The idea that you're not inclusive of minorities, you are the minority. What do you mean? We need to be inclusive of a country that has more births and is a larger percentage of the entire planet. Like, these people have been so poisoned against themselves, they don't even understand math anymore.
They might say their actions say otherwise.
What's their actions that are so extreme? They kill minorities?
They're not helping them.
Or not?
Oh my God, they're not helping them.
That's what I love.
How?
It's like, why is it my responsibility to solve the world's problems? We are not even Elon. It's like, I'm not wealthy beyond my imagination. I do not need to feed everybody that makes less money than me. But they somehow see Elon Musk and say, hey, look, he's advancing civilization. He's creating all those electric cars you want. He's
doing his part, and he doesn't have $1 trillion in liquid assets. If he did, it wouldn't have been cut in almost half, pretty much over a weekend.
Space like you've always wanted, but somehow because he's not feeding the needy and he has the crime of being white, he's a bad guy.
Helping's extreme? Wait, what's helping?
We've had extended conversations about what politics looks like in the world, and when they discuss it, the things that they say or choose not to say are pretty detrimental.
You're not parroting my Reddit talking points. I gotta excommunicate you because you're a bad guy. That is insane how much social media algorithms...
God forbid her parents just live their lives the way that they want to. You know, that thing you're arguing that your friends should be able to do is live their lives the way that they want to. Let your parents live the way that they want to. And if y'all don't agree, just fucking scream at each other on the holidays, like my family.
Can plague people's brains now. And before TikTok became American, got sold to America, it was all like China's doing. Because remember, TikTok would push all this LGBT propaganda, all these ratchet content on TikTok. But their version of TikTok, Douyin, would promote things like respecting your teacher, learning a very difficult skill, aerobic activity.
I'm sorry, that was the most Asian he's ever sounded.
All positive things
respecting
that
your
this
teacher
generation would be considered conservative values, essentially. But for America, your version, it's all ratchet behavior because we want you guys to not be in the nuclear family. We want you guys to be into ratchet stuff. We want you guys to be robbing each other and thinking it's funny because it's the easiest way to win a war without ever going into a hot conflict.
Yeah,
solid side, exactly.
That doesn't sound like extremism.
Yeah.
You know what the word extremism means?
Yeah.
What do they do?
No,
that's
she
extreme?
doesn't.
There was once upon a time when Kamala came out with...
Kamala, thank you. You're gonna get...
Yeah.
I remember all the news outlets called her Kamala. She was always Kamala. And all of a sudden then it made you a racist person to not say Kamala. And it's like most people didn't know. People would have her on their station and call her Kamala and not even know any better. It does.
And again, if you don't correct people, they won't know that they're wrong. But at the same time, if you have an odd name and people have pronounced it, 3 different ways? 2 more prominently? Then you have no room to cry about it. People are allowed to get your name wrong, especially if it's a different name. I mean, until a certain point, but you're not racist for getting someone's name wrong. Kamala.
Doesn't make us a bad person.
Kamala.
You're irrelevant. But the sad thing is she said you didn't agree with Kamala, despite the fact that even she doesn't know how to pronounce her name. Again, all this stuff is empty virtue signaling.
Get canceled for that.
She was talking about how our current president wanted to have generals more like dictators of old.
Just say his name, for God's sake. Our current president.
Okay.
And I asked my parents what they felt about that, and
Did he genuinely say, I want our generals to be like dictators? Or did some left-wing outlet loosely translate what they want him to say to villainize him? And they say, okay, we don't believe CNN's lies. We don't believe MSNBC's telling us if you get it, you get the vaccine, you don't spread it, you're never going to be harmed from it ever again. Maybe we don't believe a word they say after that. But here she is saying, if you don't believe in the word of our Lord and Savior Kamala, I can't be your family anymore.
old.
Okay.
And I asked my parents what they felt about that, and they said,
For the love of God, just say Trump and Hitler, okay? You probably say it all the time, but it doesn't make you sound fancier to say dictators of old. It makes you sound retarded, like you can't think of the name.
they needed the context, and I said,
Yes.
under what
Yeah.
context is it okay
It's not the context of what makes it okay. It's the context of, did it even happen?
to like want
Well,
Hitler's
maybe
generals?
they wanted to understand if he was doing his classic rifting or if he was being
It's just
an
riffing.
actual dictator, which would be bad. But we know, if you follow politics, which I assume you do, he is a rifting guy, and you
Riffing.
take, like, but grain of salt with pretty much everything, including saying peace is close in Iran, which I think you would
Yeah.
agree with.
And also, like,
So-
threatening to nuke them, an entire population.
Exactly. what-
Yeah, and that's arguing from a point of power.
Again, he's threatening them because, one, the people welcome it, okay? If you were actually in a dictatorship, like a lot of these fucking blue hairs feel like they are, or teal, whatever fucking shade of blue you assign yourself to. But no, if you actually feel that you're in, or if you actually know, because it's not a feeling, that you're in one of these harsh dictatorships where they'll gun 40,000 of you down in a single city, well, probably not in a single city, but most of them in a single city, just for protesting, you know, where that kind of stuff actually happens, then yeah, I'm sure most of them would rather die or escape somehow than anything else. But he's not going to do that. He's not going to nuke Tehran. It's not going to happen. Like I said, unless they somehow find a way to get a bomb, or God forbid, they stored a nuke somewhere and they get us, that is not going to happen. And I very much can't see that happening. So it's not going to happen. Nuking a whole civilization. Fuck you. If anyone actually believes that he'll do that, you truly are deranged.
The funny thing is, I remember I did a video about, peace in Iran. Hormuz Strait is open. But by the time the video was going to release, we had already been bombing them again. It's like, yeah, you don't take them at face value. But the sad thing is, it's like, what was Trump doing wrong? Why'd you cut off your family? They don't know. And sad to say is, one, the people are just incredibly financially illiterate, where the reason Caleb Hammer has a show in the first place is because you got idiots out there so financially illiterate they don't understand, and she posted proof she's regarded saying under Biden her payment plan, her payment plan was $32. I'm only paying $32. I owe $145. But once Trump goes in office,
$145,000.
it's $658, but she now owes $289,000. Meaning to say, yeah, your monthly payments were down one, but your total debt amount skyrocketed. Not to mention the fact that you can still do a minimum payment of $10 a month. They want you to pay it off in a timely manner and not be in a lifelong amount of debt. But the idea that they see 32 less than 658 makes Trump a bad guy. No, they're financially illiterate. That's why they have this show. But also, she is not the only person out there. You got Savannah Craven out there interviewing people about LGBT rights.
That's her name.
Again, they got such deep Trump derangement syndrome. They don't mind going on camera, on the internet, and proudly displaying their own ignorance.
Do you think that gays have lost any rights under the conservative administration that we have right now.
And what I would always tell people, and I wouldn't try to shove it in their faces, I got a lot of liberal friends. If they're so worried about Donald Trump, they're in the LGBT community. What rights did you lose during the first Trump administration?
The answer to that riddle
If you
is
don't have any concrete
none.
numbers or laws you can tell me about, stop being worried about the second Trump administration, because maybe it's all just fear-mongering that you're hearing.
Absolutely. What rights have they lost?
Uh,
I think. Sorry. Okay.
I need to leave. I'm just here to show my boobs and
It's not
smile.
pressure, it's just saying, okay, cool, take your time. We know how it is to be put on the spot. It's okay.
This live stream? No. Sorry. If you're done, that's totally fine. Have a good day.
And she's being a million times friendlier than anybody on the left would be on one of these like man on the street interviews. Not to mention the fact that she was wearing this rainbow dress, probably trying to disarm them to make them think, oh, this is going to be a pro-liberal movement.
That's what I would do. I would probably
Not
wear a
be
rainbow dress to
essentially a
disarm
gotcha
these
piece.
people.
And I'm not saying this is unnecessarily like a gotcha piece, like trying to make her look stupid, but just giving her a platform to say, what rights did your side lose during the Trump administration? And you say, yes, but I can't name any. Lets you know they're just parroting talking points. They just got vibes. It's just, you know, Kamala's brat, Donald Trump is weird. I don't mind if American veterans are homeless and on fentanyl on the street, and you're giving all my tax dollars to people that skip the line and get free pocket money and also traffic women and children and sell them on the streets in New York City. I'm making what sounds like a far-fetched scenario, but outside the Roosevelt Hotel, missing kids, women selling themselves on the street, and it was all not necessarily paid for by the American taxpayer, but we were putting people in the Roosevelt Hotel so they're able to do this. And it is kind of disgusting that that's what we got, but a lot of people don't know about this. They just say, Trump bad, so I'm willing to parrot talking points even though it'll make me look stupid on the street. And just the idea that in an extreme scenario, they're even willing to cut off family members, and that's very sad because we've gone past left and right political, you know, arguing. It's just professional victims, exactly.
By the way, I'm so offended.
I've never wanted to see someone beaten with a pencil more than anything. But anyway, yeah, go watch Caleb Hammer. Go support Decoy. They both do great work. It's hard to watch. Caleb Hammer show is, but at the same time, oh boy. Sorry, another one of those British lady AI videos. That girl's eyes are unnerving. But anyway, here we are with DonP Bongwater.
Bro, like, I bought this for you, man. You didn't say anything. How much do you think it cost? Hold up. Let me show you the whole fit.
I'm gonna say
He looks like that song from the Backstreet Boys where they all wore white. You were my fair, yeah. That's all I know.
$80 on sale.
Yeah, it was actually it's a full linen suit.
No
shirt.
way.
Yeah, but I do want to go on record saying.
What's that? He's wearing white linens. I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. I know he's not a racist.
Jake, you actually inspired me to go to the outlet malls 3 hours away to actually buy some decent clothes. So I was wondering, what do you think of the new linens, man?
Fucking love it, man. I actually went to All Saints, got some all new basics, but damn, dude, it looks so good.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah.
DonP Bongwater better put that suit in the next fucking AI generated video that burns down a small Haitian town.
So DonP Bongwater has basically become iMarquise. The new iMarquise. You gotta love it. What the fuck? Hold on. We gotta start that over.
Video that burns down a small Haitian town.
Why is there water shooting up from the... Oh.
Tectone, why are we at a mall? You told me we were going to Wendy's.
Don't be such a baby ass, man. We will be in and out. A little shopping won't kill you.
What's with the fit on...
Real quick and then go eat.
Dude, this is some real gay shit. Designer clothes.
Why is he dressed like the Nike King?
Those are stupid.
Bro, This thing is fire.
This is so fucking lame, man. I just wanted Wendy's.
It's the only thing bad about was he trying to say Wendy's? It's the only thing bad about AI. Like the look is pretty nice. A little bit of trouble with some of the movement. And then why is he dressed like the king with Nike around his neck?
This one.
It's your money, dude. I always just get my suits from Italy.
Tectone.
I really do wish that they gave Nux his actual voice though, but again, you gotta love the fucking Chad voice.
Can we go eat now? Why did you buy all that shit? It's weird that you changed the way you dress all of a sudden.
You wouldn't understand, bro. Looking good makes you feel good.
Sounds gay to me.
I mean, it is a little gay.
You know, Tectone, you don't need a suit to matter. Even a Hawaiian shirt like that frog guy who makes videos would be fine. This is going a bit too far.
Look at you, Tectone, dressing up like Asmon's gay lover.
Who? Tectone?
No, Hassan.
No. It's best to not stir up shit, lad.
Do it!
No, this is a really bad idea.
Do it, you fucking pussy!
Charge
Funny if
complete.
I did, but they'd be pretty mad about it.
Do it!
Jake, don't do this to your friends.
Just do it already! If I did that, who would judge? That shoe bitch and crack whore fox thing. No one is going to like this, Jake. No, I'm gonna do it. I'm bored and want to laugh. Make it a team effort. Asmon and Nux can join in.
Where did this cigarette come from? Hold on.
Make it a team effort.
It
Asmon and Nux
just
can join in.
appears.
Who the fuck is he talking to? Tectone, what's about to happen?
So, who were you talking to? Again?
Don't worry about it. Hey, since you and Hassan are now wearing suits on streams, it's a really lame coincidence.
That's not...
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, it is a little bit.
So gay, you're gonna have to do a fashion show against him. This is gonna be funnier than I thought. Welcome to this shit show, Shoe on Head and Smug Alana.
What the fuck, dude?
This is like totally lame, but like we
What the fuck, dude? She's prettier than that.
get to at least like make fun of Hamas.
Why is Smug Alana like a little Yiddish grandma? Like she, or like the old Doxy, like the one that's been walking the streets the longest, but she's a fox as well. What the fuck?
We also totally.
I do say he needs to run some kind of like show for the right. Like I don't know. Like I could see him actually doing something like this.
Know how this will turn out.
Why do I look like this? You did this to me, you bald egghead fuck!
Hey, you can't all look as good as...
That actually does sound like Aspen Gold. I'm sorry I keep pausing. I'm sorry.
You owe me, Tectone. A lot.
All right, here's the plan.
Hold on.
Head fuck.
I got to see him freaking out
Why
again.
do I look like this? You did this to me, you bald egghead fuck!
Hey, you can't all look as good as me.
You owe me, Tectone.
Nux is like, I've always looked like
All
this.
right, here's the plan. First up is Frogan and Nux. Next is Denims and Asmon, and last is Hassan and Tectone. This is just for humiliation at this point, since people keep trying to...
Oh my God! Please let Frogan look like Jabba the Hutt. Please go all the way, DonP. I believe in you. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
None of them have the class I do.
He looks like Blue Hefner. Or Draft Pussy. What the fuck? Or Jew Hefner, maybe? Come on, show me the face. Oh my God. Yeah, not as good as I was hoping. Like, honestly, sorry, I know I keep pausing, but this looks like it feels like Asmongold is actually in this, except when he said Windows. But, like, on this part specifically, it feels like he's actually in this and someone forced him to take a bath and be in this, and everything else is fake. It's like that time that Jerry was in the fake world and he didn't know it. That's what it feels like. Holy crap, I can see. Hold on, is that Denims?
I'm okay. It was a busy $1 happy
It's supposed to be Denim.
So gross.
How did she get a higher score than Asmon?
No one can humiliate me.
I like how you can see his back tattoos through the shirt. It's nice.
Trying too hard.
A little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was gonna do a roll pose.
What a brown clown.
Why is his head so small?
Hey, listen. I appreciate you thought we needed a lesson in to not flex clothes. Can you send us back? Asmar is furious at me for dragging him in.
As long as you get that truck nuts necklace made for real.
Sure, whatever. All's well that ends well, right?
No. That's not how this shit works. You owe us for forcing us to do some retarded runway fashion thing. Your reckoning is coming. Tell me, when was World War II again?
Well, speaking of
What the
criticism,
fuck? I am glad that they they at least tried to get Frogan to be Hijab of the Hutt. I thought that was a nice touch. My God. But support DonP Bongwater. Holy crap. Hold on. Did I like it? Okay, dropping a like.
well,
You
speaking
gotta
of
love the shit.
criticism, I know one place that's receiving a lot of it, and that is PlayStation. They have finally done the thing that everyone feared. PlayStation is ending physical discs. Starting in January of 2028, new games releasing on PlayStation.
Yeah, we knew that part.
9 plus use a disc anymore. Stupidest things. Every time I see this guy's tweets, it's just a gigantic L. He's defending the stupidest things ever. Typically, it's in the VTubing space, but it's gone this way into the gaming space, where of course you can see him saying, I literally haven't bought a physical game since 2014, so I'm not sure why people are upset about this. I also
Yes, because what you do what you do marks how everyone else should feel, correct? Just because you haven't bought a physical game in 12 years doesn't mean nobody has. Most people still enjoy them. Although it has become basically useless for anything except for Nintendo, and honestly, anything except for first-party Nintendo games. In that same time frame, I know for a fact PS4 it doesn't matter, PS5 doesn't matter, Xbox Series X doesn't matter, Xbox One didn't really matter. You had to, well. You had to basically check and then download your games anyway. So basically, they did what they said they were going to do anyway. It was just, nicer with extra steps.
also have Steam, and it's just like using that. This is the most, like, Zoomer thing. Sorry, Zoomers. The most Zoomer thing I've ever seen. Like, this is like the video game equivalent of, like, a COVID weed and how they're acting.
Real quick. Under a socialist mayor, New York has reported its fewest shootings and murders in recorded history. Yes, it's reported fewer. However, racial tensions and religious tensions specifically are at an all-time high. Churches and mosques are burning left and right. Churches and synagogues are burning left and right in that one mosque. But I don't think that happened. Or I think the mosque might have been in Britain, actually. But yeah, churches and synagogues have been burning in England, in New York, and pretty much all over. And it's not just, some new non-denominational Christian church. No, it's like the old cathedrals.
Okay, great. You don't want to buy physical discs. That's your choice. But you can't understand why people are upset about this. And then reverting to, well, I got Steam. This guy's going to buy the console, right? He's going to buy the Steam Cube or whatever they're calling it. This guy will be the first one to shell out thousands of dollars for that. But you can see people pressing him in the comment section, like Lost Pause, Noble weighing in, saying, it's pretty simple. If you do not want to actually own games, that's your choice, and I can respect that. However, nobody gets that choice with PlayStation games. The option is gone. Pretty significant change, even if it doesn't affect you specifically. And Evanito here says, yeah, but I mean, on both my PS4 and my PS5, I didn't/don't buy physical games. But I understand, I guess, in different markets around the world, the option to have a disc might be better off. Bro, what? What are you doing, bruh? But it gets worse. A different user says, Evan, come on, man. Think about this for more than just 1 second. If games become digital only, this A, kills the secondhand market, and B, will strip actual ownership from you. You won't own the game. You won't be buying the privilege to access it.
You will
and
be.
That's just the start. And he says, like I said, I have quite literally never walked into a store or bought a game on a disc in over a decade, so this problem doesn't affect me.
Yeah, you're okay. But again, it doesn't affect you. Why are you talking about it? This is what most of these people always say. It doesn't affect you. You're not a woman, or you're not a this, or you're not a that, or you're not Jewish, or you're not any of this. Why does it doesn't affect you? Why do you care? Then why are you talking about it? Honestly, like, you're allowed to talk about things that don't affect you, but at the same time, you're expected to have a little empathy. You know, you're not the only person in the world.
I'm okay. It's like that meme with like how
I need
you
more
view
coffee.
the world and like your concerns, and like this guy's like on the woke side where it's like all of his concerns are people that have nothing to do with him, and when it comes to things happening right around him, he doesn't care. Like, this is crazy. Oh, well, it doesn't affect you. Well, you know, who cares? Right, who cares? Whatever. Yeah, I'm sure you're okay because you don't like discs, which is just whatever. That's your choice. It's a stupid one. But to say it's okay across the board, the breakfast meme in full effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, how would you feel if you didn't have breakfast?
But I did
this
have
morning?
breakfast.
What are you talking about? I'm so full. I had a huge breakfast. You don't get the question. You don't get why people are upset about this.
Speaking of people who may or may not have discs, Nyara said, you forfeit your life, death penalty. You say that, but you unconditionally support Trump and his pedo friends. And then Dim Els posted, you're literally a pedophile, where Nyara said, we need to lower the age of consent. Objectively speaking, the age of consent should be not be 18, as people mature at different ages. For example, 12-year-olds can be more mature than an 18-year-old. Gross, dude. Yeah, and some people aren't fully mature adults until they're like 30, especially these days. What are we talking about here? 18, you're graduated from high school. There's no real reason for you to stay at home. And some people say that if someone who's like 30 is dating someone who's like 20, 21, that's taking advantage of them. No, they're very much an adult. Now, if that person's a professor at college or in some high position of power, maybe we can have a conversation. But this person, Nyara, keeps talking about pedos, and it's really projection. Like, just fucking hell, Nyara. But she's probably got a dick.
Gigantic L. I can't believe anybody is bootlicking PlayStation for doing this. That is a massive L. Embarrassing. Anyone defending this, embarrassing. You can say I don't buy discs anyways, doesn't really affect me, but I can understand why this is bad. That's all it takes. Even for someone who doesn't really care about this personally, you can recognize how bad this is overall.
All right. And real quick, over the weekend, just so you know, screaming at someone in their face or their ear with a megaphone, that is assault. And yes, you are allowed to knock that megaphone out of their hand if you can't directly escape. She says as she literally gets in his face.
Get the fuck out of my face! Get the fuck out of my face! Get the fuck out of my face! Get the fuck out of my face!
This person is clearly, she has dizzying intellect. Anyway, let's get into the top 5 myths about the forefathers. Oh, Jesus. Alright, we're gonna skip past the intro.
For the constitutional law that created creators and free speech.
Love you, Crowder, but fucking hell, man.
July, a time for patriotism, giving, generosity, a cheerful heart, or hating your country and justifying it by perpetuating myths, lies, outright propaganda. Today we're going to go through the top 5 most common myths.
And I meant to do
about
this
the founding
one
fathers,
yesterday.
and why you don't need to hate them in the way your teacher told you.
Yeah.
The founding fathers may have been LGBTQ.
The founding fathers
What?
were racist, misogynist jerk faces.
Everything
Anyone who says something like jerkface is a toddler. Okay? And anyone who wears a suit like this, he was probably born a woman. Let's be completely clear about that.
The founding fathers did 2.5 centuries ago. Why the
No. No. I mean, maybe Franklin, but no, not the rest of them.
founding fathers actually suck and were shitty revolutionaries.
Surely this isn't what the founding fathers intended?
As it turns out, Kathleen, yes it is.
That's because the foundation of America was built on racism. Everybody knows that.
Can you imagine our reading that James Madison or Thomas Jefferson tried to overthrow the government?
Right off the top, before I get to myth 1, as we do every show when we stream daily at 11 a.m. Right now we're on break. 11 a.m. Eastern, we stream daily. We make the references publicly available. We give you a bibliography, all of our sources every day. Link in the description so you can peruse them and figure it out for yourself. Let's get straight to it. Myth number 1. Very common.
Junk jerk
You've heard
face.
this. It's almost simply accepted as fact, even though it couldn't be further from the truth, that the founding fathers, they weren't really Christians. They were, at most, they were deists.
Did you know many of America's founding fathers weren't Christian? They were deists. Leaders like Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Paine believed in God, but not an organized religion.
Christian nationalists like to pull out.
Even if that's the case, they were still religious. But let's watch more.
Quotes from the founding fathers who are using religion for social order or tradition and then saying we are a Christian nation, when really these are men of reason. They are deists before Darwin, just on pure, reason and rationality alone.
To say the U.S.
You can be religious and be a scholar, be a man of reason. What are we talking about?
The U.S. was founded on Judeo-Christian values, not only fails to capture the diversity of religious thought in the 13 colonies, it passes over the influence of deism.
Before I get to an important timeline here, let me establish the reality.
Is that like the Will of D?
Bible is the single most cited book in all of the founding fathers' writings. It's not even close. There were studies, a joint study by professors from Indiana University, University of Houston, and this study analyzed 15,000 writings by 55 framers of the Constitution. They found that the founding fathers cited the Bible by far more than any other book in their writings, making up approximately 34% of all attributable quotes to our founding fathers. There isn't even a distant second. Here's another reality. The Continental Congress's own official proclamations were explicitly, repeatedly, almost redundantly Christian. Let's go to 1774, the first prayer of the Continental Congress. Preserve the health of their bodies and vigor of their minds. Shower down on them and the millions they here represent such temporal blessings as thou seest. We don't use that term anymore, but it's a fun one. Ceased expedient for them in this world, and crown them with everlasting glory in the world to come. All this we ask in the name and through the merits of Jesus Christ, thy Son and our Savior. You may want some wiggle room here and say, well, what do they mean by thy? To whom? I'll just go with God. Jesus Christ is thy Son, God's Son, but that's an interpretation. Let's go to Benjamin Franklin, often cited as a deist. His call for prayer in 1787. He actually recommended, and this was famously so, although for some reason it's not often taught in schools, that the Constitutional Convention open with prayer. The deist, Benjamin Franklin. He said, "I have lived, sir, a long time, and the more I live, the more convincing proofs I see of this truth that God governs in the affairs of men. And if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that an empire can rise without his aid?" Let's go to 1776. Congress proclaimed days of fasting and Thanksgiving annually throughout the Revolutionary War, asking all citizens to confess and bewail our manifold sins and transgressions, and by a sincere repentance and amendment of life appease his God's righteous displeasure, and through the merits and mediation of Jesus Christ obtain his pardon and forgiveness. Still not convinced, 1777. Congress's Thanksgiving proclamation. They may join the penitent confession of their manifold sins, whereby they had forfeited every favor, and their humble and earnest supplication that it may please God through the merits of Jesus Christ, mercifully to forgive and blot them out of remembrance. Yeah, deists who seemed very adamant about marrying the concept of God, capital G, to thy son, Jesus Christ. But, you know, they weren't religious, they were just spiritual, like a sorority girl. By the way, I know we're on break right now. If you want to tune in and see more of this, we'll be back 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. That's when we live.
Oh, and we'll be
always
here.
Provide the references. Happy 4th. Let's go on to myth number 2. And this is one that is used very often if people accept the premise.
Hey, Kick
"Okay,
Bounties,
we're
thank you
Christians. Now we need to
for
discredit
the
them."
engagement.
Well, the founders, it doesn't really matter because how could they be Christians? They wholeheartedly supported, endorsed, and practiced slavery.
It's an embarrassing thing to admit, but the people who wrote the Constitution did not understand that slavery was a bad thing and did not respect civil rights.
The document they produced was eventually signed.
They didn't understand it, says the guy that looks like Mr. Bean.
Ultimately,
Was that Butt Gig?
it was stained by this nation's original sin of slavery.
Our country was not founded on the principle that all people are created equal. It was founded at the expense of the lives, freedom, and well-being of black people, African folks who they stole.
What is unique? No, chattel slavery was not unique to the United States. But what was unique was that we practiced chattel slavery while saying and professing these beliefs in equality and universal rights of men.
So here's the reality.
And then eventually we caught up.
Knew that they had to reconcile slavery, knew that something was going to need to change precisely because of the fact that they were God-fearing men. Slavery was the norm. Took a while to change it. Let me give you some direct quotes. Again, check the references. 1786, this is George Washington. "There is not a man living who wishes more sincerely than I do to see a plan adopted for this abolition of slavery." 1789, Benjamin Franklin again. "Slavery is an atrocious debasement of human nature." 1819, John Adams. "Every measure of prudence ought to be assumed for the eventual total extirpation of slavery from the United States." This tells you how dishonest and or arrogant the left is. Took a while to fix. Yes, slavery was practiced. In many instances, you couldn't free your slaves legally until your death. Imagine thinking that these guys hadn't figured it out, had never given it any thought, and Pete Buttigieg is the one to enlighten humanity. Thank God for him in Traverse City. Myth number 3. This is a very common one, and you'll actually hear people sometimes quote separation of church and state as though it's in the Constitution. So this myth is pretty much the founders intended very strict separation of church and state, specifically in what you know as the modern secularist sense.
You can't have a discussion like this without talking about the founders and what they personally believed. But really, I think that that's largely irrelevant to the central question. Are we a Christian nation founded on Judeo-Christian principles? Because even if they were Christians, Bible-beating, Jesus-rose-from-the-dead Christians, that doesn't necessarily mean that they founded the nation on Judeo-Christian principles.
Well, they founded it on a godless and entirely secular constitution, so their
religion was irrelevant.
Exactly, and that's the critical fact. So even if they are Christian, which I think you can't make that case convincingly, we know that they built a nation that was entirely secular and in which state and church were meant to be separate.
For all the baggage that new media, social media comes with, these instances, this is where it really shines. People like that used to be able to get away with, you know, if you really want to believe they were Bible beating, like Jesus rose from the dead Christian. You mean Christian? You want to go back to Jefferson, Franklin, George Washington, who specifically cited Jesus Christ, thy Son, repeatedly more than any other book the Bible referenced? This brings us to the reality. The first Congress approved the First Amendment and a national day of prayer to Almighty God in the Jesus Christ contextual sense on the same day. The reason that matters is because they're trying to make you believe that they've caught something the rest of us have missed. The Founding Fathers didn't miss it. You may not agree with them on everything, but to suggest that they are so idiotic as to approve the First Amendment and a national day of prayer to Almighty God on the same day without understanding the implications is to be intellectually dishonest. Let me give you a timeline. 1789, April through May. Also, our government hired and they would pay chaplains for House and Senate daily opening prayers. Then September 25th, the final Bill of Rights language was passed, and that's where we had Boudinot's Thanksgiving prayer resolution. September 26th, the Senate concurs and Washington issues the proclamation. They meant no, and I've talked about this, Thomas Jefferson writing in a private letter to the Danbury Baptists. You know, you do have to read some of the supportive texts, as you do with, by the way, any historical event, context, or even religion. To give you a better picture, they were very clear that they didn't want a national denomination to be enforced. There was never the intention to keep God out of public life. As a matter of fact, the opposite of that. That's why they declared a national day of prayer on the same day as the First Amendment. You're talking about the same Congress, by the way, just for more context, that funded military chaplains, the Indian missions, Bible distributions, while they were writing no establishment, while they were writing the First Amendment. These things were happening at the same time. They didn't miss it. And other people, before podcast hosts or think tank fellows, didn't miss it either. That's why you go to the Marsh versus Chambers Supreme Court decision in 1983. The Supreme Court affirmed all this in a case regarding the constitutionality of opening legislative sessions with prayers when it stated it can hardly be thought that in the same week members of the First Congress voted to appoint and to pay a chaplain for each house and also vote to approve the draft of the First Amendment for submission to the states, that they intended the Establishment Clause of the amendment to forbid what they had just declared acceptable. And that's actually pretty soft language. They didn't declare it acceptable. They effectively codified it. It was proactive, not reactive. Myth number 4. I can't believe that anyone still tries to force this one upon you, but they do. The idea that the founders actually modeled their representative government after the Native American model.
Long
Yeah, that
before
one was
13 British colonies
that one's pretty funny.
made themselves into the United States. The 6 nations of the Iroquois Confederacy, Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Tuscarora, Oneida, and Mohawk, had created a union of their own that they called the Haudenosaunee, a democracy that had flourished for centuries.
Here's the reality. No, of course, Native Americans did not practice democracy. Certainly not in the way that you know it, unless it includes scalping.
And we certainly didn't
and burning
get it
alive.
from
I know
them.
you'll say, oh, we scalped too. No, not the way that they did. So really, the claim there that they're trying to reference, it's referring to the Iroquois Confederacy, which was a defense agreement between tribes. It was not, in fact, a democracy. For more proof, you need to look at the fact that members of tribes fought against each other on both sides of the American Revolution. What do you think? They voted to which sides they would fight each other and kill each other? No, this defies reason, obviously. The founders looked to, not Native Americans, places like Rome, Greece, for inspiration. The Federalist Papers were written under the pseudonym Publius, one of course, the founders of the Roman Republic, not Shitting Bear.
Shitting Bear.
Speaking of which, if you have problems with regularity, or you feel that your body maybe isn't just working as well as you'd like, this is the only other company I've ever created or owned. Foundation, a daily multivitamin with clinically effective ingredients at their clinically effective doses. You can go and check all of the research right there on foundationdaily.com, as well as lab tests, certificates of analysis for every single batch sold. If you exercise, eat perfectly, and feel great, have no aches and pains, you know what? You may not need it. If you want the best multivitamin in the world and you think that your brain, your joints could use a little bit of help, all of these ingredients, my genetic condition, which brings us to myth number 5. That the founders believed in universal suffrage and they wanted a one-person, one-vote system.
Make no mistake, our democracy is being tested in this election. This is a stress test of the ideals upon which this country was founded. And the basic rule of one person, one vote, that still carries, and it has to carry here.
This guy looks so angry.
One vote. Everything about the Constitution and the design of America from the very beginning until today points in one direction, which is one person, one vote, which means everybody gets equal power. It's the colloquial term for political equality, meaning that everyone is a political equal. Everyone is equal at the ballot box.
Okay, here's the reality. Not only did the Founding Fathers never intend for everyone to vote, they were very clear that not everyone should vote, and pure democracy would effectively be tearing down the country that they created. This is a representative, a constitutional republic, which is meant to represent those who can build, sustain, and keep a country. They were actually discussing, if you look at the 1787, the Constitutional Convention, not only was universal suffrage not on the table, the opposing sides on the voting issue, they were debating exactly how to restrict voting. Whether to expand it was not on the table.
And again,
specifically,
not against that,
so
not
that
at all.
We can have a representative government that is most representative of those who can serve, build, and sustain this country. John Adams actually stated this. He said, "The doctrine of universal suffrage is so manifest a courtship to the mob as to need no comment." Then he goes on to give a comment. I love it when they do that. "I will not waste my time, sir." How much do you have? "But it never can succeed for any length of time. These good creatures never look forward for 2 days. The mob must ever be in the power of government, government never in the power of the mob. Property is universally and eternally irreconcilable with universal suffrage. It is dangerous to open so fruitful a source of controversy and altercation as would be opened by attempting to alter the qualifications of voters. There will be no end to it. New claims will arise. Women will demand a vote. Lads from 12 to 21 will think their rights not enough attended to, and every man who has not a farthing will demand an equal voice with any other in all acts of state. It tends to confound and destroy all distinctions and prostrate all ranks to one common." Now, I know people who are perpetually offended will take that and goes, well, you can't take what he said seriously. He doesn't think that women should have a vote. We've done installments on specifically women voting, universal suffrage. Keep in mind the context. This is someone who reviled slavery, thought it was abhorrent, knew that it would have to be corrected in the future. He didn't just list women. He also listed lads from 12 to 21. He specifically went out of his way to describe people who have no skin in the game, not a farthing. It means they're not earners. They would not be paying into the system. They would not be contributors. They should not be allowed to vote self-gain from the contributors. This wasn't an accident. It was very, very proactive, concerted, specific, and reiterated to the point of redundancy. All of these points, all of these myths have been addressed ad nauseum as to remove all doubt. I highly recommend that you go and check out the links, read more supportive documents, read them for yourself, And then I want you to juxtapose that to the arguments, including the people you've seen in these clips, that are being made out there, and ask yourself, my gosh, if they went out of their way, this number of time, like I said, to the point of redundancy, how could someone be misinterpreting this and then playing a game of telephone with students? The answer is they're not misinterpreting it. It's not a mistake. They're deliberately lying about it. This is not a gray issue. This is black and white. Founding fathers of this country were Christians. They believed that this country could only be a constitutional representative republic and would only be adequate for a free but moral and Christian people, and that said government should represent only those who could create, sustain, fight for a country of meaning. The founding fathers, of course, we all know they were very flawed men, just like any other men or women throughout history. They were flawed men who knew that they needed God. And that's precisely why they built the representative republic that they did. Check the references. I hope this helps. And go tell your teacher that they suck.
I mean, honestly, you've probably caught your teacher sucking quite often. I know I have. A couple of times, actually. But anyway, what are we doing on time? All right, so we got time for... Let's get into a little bit of Tim Pool exposes Brian Shapiro of lying about Charlie Kirk.
Brian Shapiro has returned to Tim Pool, and he makes the claim that Charlie...
They seem to be almost friends. I know they've been doing a lot of shows together.
Charlie Kirk's life should not be celebrated, and that he was spreading hate.
Charlie Kirk was not spreading hate.
I disagree.
Well,
you're an idiot.
Because if you ever met the guy, like what they say about you, to the people in the comments saying you're hateful and you're bad, and I respond to all of them that if they met you and asked you to sit down for dinner, you would be nice to them.
Well, I have sat down with Brian Shapiro. Not sure I would say he was nice.
I think you're a very boring person to interview. I think you have no personality at all. You're not entertaining. You're not funny. You're ill-prepared. When I bring up topics like the Epstein files or other topics,
ill prepared. He's one to talk there.
On this show said, "I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared for that." I think.
Yeah,
and by the way,
I don't.
yeah, there's a lot of things you don't know. There's people in this industry. You've done their shows. People on the right. They've told me in private conversations, multiple people, that it was a brutal interview with you. That you're boring.
Are you willing to say who?
I will ask I will ask them if it's okay with them. I was talking to one dude today that's a friend of mine, and he said it was one of the most brutal interviews he's ever done because you have no personality.
I wouldn't say he hates me. I enjoyed talking to him. He was one of the few that's willing to have the conversation until he wasn't, until he banned me from the show. But while it lasted, it was good.
He banned him for Brian Shapiro being a gaping anus.
Well, I think it's really funny that people think you're really boring and you're a racist. I also think that's very funny. Very funny, Warren. It's very funny that all
it bother you so badly.
It's bothering me. I'm just proving the point that you're a liar.
You're not proving anything, Brian.
No.
Brian.
Okay. I think your behavior is very strange. You know who I talk to on a regular basis?
Who?
Tim Pool. What would you say about him? He doesn't mind me saying that. I text him all the time.
In a strange way, we kind of got along at the same time. He's calling you all these names, but I'm not sure I would describe him as nice.
But I would ask people, what have I said that has been racist
barely
or
a person.
misogynist? What have I said that takes an entire group of people?
What does Charlie say?
Well, I could go through. I could go through a few things here, but
You could go through out of context clips. That's about it.
Would say when it comes to Charlie, let's just start with the talk about the civil rights movement and Martin Luther King Jr. He thought the civil rights movement was terrible for America.
Was that racist? Charlie Kirk disagreeing with a law is different from Charlie Kirk not liking a group of people.
Well, okay, so if that's where it ended, I would probably agree with you. But if we're going to talk about, okay, so when he said when I get on a plane, if the pilot is black, should I be worried?
Again, another out of context clip.
I've gone through this exact same one with Brian. Always goes the exact same way.
If you're going to claim we want this specific outcome, we already have a talent pool. All the people that want to be firefighters in this town have applied, but we don't have enough purple firefighters. Therefore, there are only 2.
Purple's probably not the best color to go for, considering some people say people are so black they're purple. Mostly my black friends.
Logical options that you have. Change the standards to accommodate them, or accept purple firefighters that would not otherwise become firefighters. Both are very bad ideas. Logically, it does not work.
Charlie Kirk never claimed it.
And on top of that, not only does it lower the standards because you have to, now again, if, as I've said before on the show, if you want to go out and push for people of certain minority groups, women, whatever, to be a certain thing, like a pilot, and you want to push pilot programs to certain communities so you can increase the number of whichever community, black community, pilots that there are over, hell, 5-10 years, you can eventually get to those numbers. But if you just start hiring based on race and not off test scores, actual hands-on test, whatever, flight simulator, whatever the fuck they do, not only does that make people be like, whoa, what the fuck? Oh, God. Every single one of these people are female or whatever. Are we going to make it? And not only is that something that white people say, but it's something that, like, if you've ever gotten like, "Hi, this is Captain Jackie" on a flight, even women will be like, "What the fuck? This is a big fancy machine here, toots." I'm sorry, that's a Greg Giraldo joke, but I probably butchered it. I definitely butchered it, but no, but again, over time, you can get there. And not only is it like that for regular people who aren't pilots, but it's like that for the pilot themselves, because if they have any self-reflection at all, they'll be like, fuck, did I make it here off my own merits, or did they just hire me based off this innocuous thing that I can't control? Like, sure, that sounds cool and all, but when you think of the drop in quality for just doing a thing instead of actually putting forth any effort and getting X community to increase their skills or increase the interest in said community so that more talented people from that community will train and do all this other stuff to be a firefighter, a pilot, whatever, then you risk that. You risk people having these thoughts.
If you say a black pilot, that pilot is less qualified.
Let's be very clear here. I know he was talking about DEI, but let's be very clear here. There is no evidence to suggest that if you're a black pilot, you have any less hours than somebody who's white.
And that was his point.
We were.
His point was.
Then why would you make that statement?
If you listen to the
Because
full,
I would make that statement to make that
So
point.
when you get on a plane, you're worried if the pilot's black or
because
white?
of DEI,
Because of the way
you
they
realize
did
he
it,
was
again.
saying, because of DEI, we are putting unqualified people in positions where they need to be qualified.
Support Warren.
And he's not okay.
And here's my
Neither
point.
would I be okay
And
with
here's
that.
my retort to that. And here's my evidence.
Yeah,
There
listen,
is not
black guy.
A sliver of evidence that any black pilot. Hold on. That any black pilots have less hours of training than a white pilot.
Anything short of hiring
There's only no evidence if you don't look.
based upon merit will lead to flawed outcomes. And he was pointing out one of those flawed outcomes. It's as simple as that. Brian knows this. I've walked through it with him so many times. Real quick, the sponsor of this video is Gaia. Gaia is a ancient thoughts, frequency, and awareness. Then this happens, and you can meet the unknown with curiosity, compassion, and enters its next chapter.
as it pertains to Charlie Kirk, he was not disparaging.
If Gaia is that... Guy's kind of retarded, I'm not going to lie. But whatever, if you're into it, you're into it, cool.
Black people. His point was Democrats have instituted a policy that creates a perception among people that the black pilots are less qualified. He doesn't want to think that way.
Charlie Kirk was pointing out that policies like this lead to people being treated differently based upon the color of their skin.
I'm going to be honest. I don't want people to treat me a certain way because of the color of my skin. I don't want you to feel sorry for me or give me more opportunity.
Yeah, I don't want you to treat me better or worse because I'm white, black, Asian, whatever. That's what people are talking about.
Because I'm black. I would rather have the opportunities I have because I've made the decision to be there and sacrifice for it.
Great.
You don't care. You care so much about what Charlie Kirk had to say.
I think if you
shaking
work
your head.
hard in the United States of America, I agree with you. You should be able
Okay,
to
so then
on merit.
you agree. So you agree with what Charlie Kirk said?
No, I don't. I probably disagree with almost everything that Charlie Kirk stood for.
Oh,
You think transgender surgery should be illegal?
Yes. Especially if you're under 18.
How can you find that insane? Should a child be able to get a tattoo? Well, no. Why not? Because they shouldn't be able to make irreversible decisions when their brain hasn't fully developed. Well, that's the same reasoning. It's not insane.
That's not hateful. A little kid.
He attacked transgenders 24/7.
That's different than saying that should transgender surgery be...
He thinks it's a mental illness.
It is.
It's not a mental illness. Why does it require medical intervention?
It's in the DSM-5. It needs to be, otherwise I can't get prescription medication.
I think there's all sorts of reasons why people could be considered mentally ill. Charlie Kirk.
The point ultimately is this.
That's not a counterpoint.
If you sit down with Charlie Kirk and ask him, do you hate anybody? No. If you ask him, should people hate others? He'd say, I hope they don't, and no, they should not. If you asked him, why do you want transgender surgery banned? He would say, because I love these people, and I want them to get the help that benefits them. I disagree that this is the path towards helping them. If you ask him about the pilot situation, he'd say, I don't hate black people. I hate that they're creating a situation that creates that perception of black people. Charlie Kirk famously kicked out white identitarians and white nationalists from the events that he would hold. He would open public events, people could come up, and there's videos where a white nationalist would come up and say something, and he'd stand up and say, get out. And he got criticized for being, like, liberal for doing so.
Yeah.
By all means, you can disagree with his fact positions, but the dude did not spread hate. He would sit down with anybody and have dinner with you and shake your hand with a smile and ask you, how can I help you?
I mean, you could make an argument that Charlie Kirk was actually anti-racist, more so than progressive ideology.
He really was.
Than Brian would claim. I'm not a progressive. I'm not a leftist. I'm not even a liberal.
Who do I cuck for? I don't cuck for the Democrats. I'm not a Democrat. In fact, I've been called a racist lately because I called out Kamala Harris, and I think we're all screwed if Kamala runs again.
I got to be honest.
Who do I cuck
Democrats are racist.
Hey, look. You know,
and Republicans aren't.
I got to give.
I've met more racist Democrats than I have Republicans.
I agree. I completely agree.
Okay.
The fact that you're being called a racist because you don't think Kamala Harris would be a good candidate, that should show you what I've been trying to articulate about how this term is being thrown around. And yet, Brian has called me a racist so many times I've lost count.
Like my whole life.
Make those faces, but hey, are you gonna?
I think there are racists everywhere.
I
think there are racists
everywhere. People that I've experienced racism from are people that supported people.
The one party who says systemic racism doesn't exist.
Excuse me, sir, black man. Can you please defer to the white man's experience for a second?
I know he's telling me who I should think is racist.
The one party that says systemic racism doesn't exist.
From the party that said you ain't black if you don't vote Democrat.
I understand the frustration around labels, but it's just funny when you're completely anti anything conservative. And then you claim, hey, I'm not liberal, though. It just doesn't add up.
Now, after looking at France going through that absolute nightmare with all those stats.
Hold on.
No. It's miserably sad, and everyone knows it. And I think nothing exhibits a better example of the idea that, like, the leftist media will break you, completely and utterly destroy you. All right, your eyes never saw the reality, so they will shape your mind to believe.
I've been trying to find this video, the one without Nux with just this guy for a little bit, but it's. Let me try one more time. Hold on. Let me try this. I might be doing this backwards.
what they want you to believe.
Okay, anyway, we'll just do it like this.
Understand that is exactly what these people are doing.
And just know that this is something similar to my story. It wasn't when Charlie was taken. That's just when I decided to stop getting in my own way. And I'm still not 100% out of it, but it kicked me into doing the show full time. Actually getting up off my ass and speaking out and saying things. Do I always get on here with my best foot forward? No. And you're all witness to that just about every day. But sometimes I get on here and I'm pretty based, I gotta say. But anyway, let's continue.
Manipulating you into believing a thing, and then you open your eyes and your world breaks. Your entire world gets destroyed. That happened to Europeans coming to America. That also happened to this guy. This is a libtard who talked about his experience after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He's an ex-libtard. All right, just understand. I think this is one of the greatest videos I've ever seen, by the way.
I'm actually glad that Charlie Kirk was murdered, but probably not for the reason you think. I was at work when I first found out. A fellow employee had wandered up to me, cell phone in hand, and asked, "Did you hear that Charlie Kirk just got assassinated?" And I, without even a moment's hesitation, responded, "Good! Fuck that Nazi white supremacist piece of shit!" I had never before witnessed such a perfectly blended expression of disgust, disappointment, sadness, and surprise.
The normal reaction, by the way, to every single one of these leftoid fucks.
Yeah, to someone saying that someone being murdered for speaking was a good thing. The world is worse off without Charlie Kirk. It did bring some people together, and for others, it really launched Candace Owens' career even further, which is super sad.
Window of another man's eyes or experience a silence so uncomfortable as the one that followed, and although that look on his face now haunts me more and more with each passing day, at the time, it only made me distrustful and upset. But little did I know that the sentence which followed would end up becoming the most profoundly psychologically impactful question that I've ever been.
All right, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to hear the psychologically impactful question? It changed his life. This one question.
Have you ever actually watched any of his debates? I decided to end the
The answer is usually no.
Clearly a lost cause.
That's right. Never, ever engage in discussion with the other side. They must all automatically be evil.
Those intellectually dishonest Kool-Aid drinking types who refuses to engage in good faith with any perspective which contradicts their outstandingly narrow and propagandized world.
Yeah, of course. They're the
By this
problem.
man, I mean me. Because I hadn't actually watched any of his debates.
That's right, obviously.
I was basing literally every single thing I believe about a human
Clips.
being, with thousands of hours worth of publicly available recordings of himself openly expressing his opinions on a small handful of out-of-context clips that had been curated for me by algorithms and media organizations being funded by the political opposition.
That's right, and that's literally the entire liberal world. All right? Just do not believe your eyes. Do not believe reality. Believe what I want you to believe. This has...
And don't get me wrong, Republicans do this too, but they haven't had to do this in the last 10 or 12 years nearly as much. Again, it happens sometimes, but they haven't had to nearly as much because the left has become so unhinged that you don't really have to take them out of context. They are saying the quiet parts out loud. They are saying all of the things, and no one speaks down on them for doing so. No one says, "Oh, look, I love so-and-so, but they shouldn't have said this," or "I completely denounce the horrific statements done by such and such," or just leaving them up on TikTok, the Charlie Kirk dances and such.
Literally, like a cancer, infected all of leftism.
I foamed at the mouth, right along with the rest of those rabid and bloodthirsty dogs, gleefully mocking those who had been saddened by his death and downplaying the atrocity of it all by suggesting that political violence is just an unfortunate yet necessary step toward our coveted socialist revolution. That is, until I began to notice a common thread. The exact same comment being repeated ad nauseum in nearly every single online space.
Huh.
Have you ever actually watched any of his debates? I didn't think much of it at first.
Or even, again, just gone 30 seconds. Just a mere 30 seconds before or after every clip. Or before and after every clip even. A minute. Anything further than that, watching the whole bit. Or at least the whole conversation. You know, what an actual clip should be. Not an out-of-context statement, but the whole time, from the second the person who walks up to make a statement, ask a question, to the time that they leave, and such speaker stops talking about them.
Of course, right-wingers are all regurgitating the exact same talking point. They're in a cult. They're brainwashed. It was an ordinary and boring morning on the day I found out that I am a monster. In that moment where my curiosity got the best of me and I decided to click on some random YouTube thumbnail of Charlie Kirk with his goofy and gummy smile in an attempt to reaffirm my preconceived biases. And it was an unusually stressful afternoon on that very same day when I spoke to my father for the first time in years, despite the fact that he had always loved and supported me unconditionally.
My heart breaks for this dude, because I know where he's coming from. A lot of my friends are still going through this. They have cut off their families and friends because they've pretty much joined a cult. The cult of leftism. And am I saying that republicanism or conservatism is the answer? No. The answer is for you to find. But the second that you come out of it and you can realize that you can have conversations with people and even, yes, disagreements with people and still be in that person's life, especially if they're family. Now, I understand if your family has cast you out because of something that you enjoy doing, usually it's something detrimental to yourself, whether you like to do it or not. And to the people who used to ask me, do you think that being gay is a sin? Me not being particularly religious and me saying, well, yes, according to religious people, pretty much everything that people enjoy doing or are fun are genuinely sinful. They didn't like that answer because they don't like being told that they're wrong. And that's basically all this is. I'm right. You can't tell me what to do. Nah, 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 nah.
And it was a never-ending sleepless night, coming to terms with the fact that literally every single thing I thought I hated about the right, bigotry, stupidity, violence, vitriol, and narrow-mindedness was
It's left.
actually just an outward projection of hatred toward my own self. Charlie Kirk is my hero. He opened my eyes to the cruel and manipulative nature of our political media, brought my family back together, and taught me how to love again. And to anyone who takes issue or offense with that, I'm going to do exactly what he would have done, and challenge you to answer a simple, honest, and straightforward question. Have you ever actually watched any of his debates?
Charlie Kirk, doing the Lord's work beyond the grave, saving libtards that would be gleeful if you were killed. People that you would think are so fucking far gone that there's no way they would be saved. Charlie Kirk saved them from beyond the grave. And all they had to do was actually look at reality with their own eyes instead of just live in their endless fucking retarded stupor of delusion. Very fucking brave of this guy, by the way, to come out with this video.
It really is.
But nothing.
Because this guy, all the people who have pretended to like him, all the people who he has, let's be honest, pretended to like over the years, they're going to be after him now. This is the end of the world that he has spent however long since he's cast his family aside, and probably before that. Everything that this man has is gone. It's gone. For an awakening. And that's genuinely what an awakening is. When you realize that you're wrong. When you realize that the entire... And I'm not talking about you go to a place and they give you drugs and hot chicks. And yes, that's happened to me. And you start to be like, oh man, these people seem to have a lot more fun and are a lot more to where I want to be in here. And yes, I am sad to say that that was basically it. I was lost. I felt like I had no one. And then, next thing you know, all these people are being so nice to me and giving me so many things that make me feel so nice. And it's all cosmetic. It's all fake. And that's probably the reason why I don't like cosmetic surgery, especially elective cosmetic surgery. But just pay attention to what did YouTube do now? It says YouTube in big trouble. Where? Oh no, that's the we covered that yesterday. Shapeshifter. Hey, Shapeshifter. Yeah, I did a show yesterday. We covered that YouTube is basically due to the English dude who got attacked by some people on the street, and he got knocked to the ground. And well, I mean, here, we got a couple minutes. Let's Oh, by the way, Casey Tron got oh, and here's another. We have an update. Like, do you see this girl here? This crazy girl with her pants down who looks like she's sticking something in her bum. She look familiar? It's 'cause she is. It's 'cause she is. She was freaking the fuck out. Until Patriot Front got on there, and then she got in the now viral picture. But again, let's all watch 30 seconds before and after. Every clip that we watch, you see all these great things. James Wood posting all these people, mostly white people, calling for white genocide. Let's do it. Hold on, this. Chase them and kick them. Get gasoline, pour it down whatever hole it is, and lights it on fire. That's just weird. Anyway, ooh, that's another one I want to watch. Hold on. Oh, this one right here. Hi, FBI. This woman from Columbus, Georgia, appears to have shared an image of herself beheading ICE agents. This says stand up. This is not standing up. This is lashing out, okay? That ICE agent is not your absent father. I'm sorry. I'm just so sorry. Oh, by the way, Casey Tron, banned from Twitch. We'll see how long this for the same reason. She was driving drunk and live streaming and reading chat while she was driving drunk to get McDonald's. She was going to get Big Macs for Frogan, since Frogan can't afford them anymore. Where is it? I know I have it somewhere. Sorry, I know I've saved a lot of the same shit. No, that's not it. Okay, I remember that. We're getting there. We're getting there. I know I save a lot of the same shit over and over again. This one's just for you, Shapeshifter. Oh, that's the fake one. Okay. Okay. So that you don't know, over here to the side, there's a cop car. A little bit further back, there's a bunch of cops who were in this video, and the camera guy who, whose point of view we're seeing, saw something going on, so he's like, I'm gonna film this, and it's a good thing he did. So you see this guy, some kind of altercation. You see this guy here, just throws the dude on the ground. This bitch punches him in the back of the head. And the cops, and again, boom, boom. And then the cops slam him, the guy who just got up off the ground after throwing no punches, slam him, and the guy's disoriented because he hit his head on the ground and got punched in the back of the head by bitches. And then this bitch comes up and slams him. And then this girl kind of goes, oh, should I go over there? And again, kid did nothing wrong as far as we know. And they attack him, not the group of people. Yeah, but you asked, but anyway, so people are saying that this video, which is the video that I covered yesterday, and I think some last week, but people are saying that, so Britain is pushing for YouTube to start propelling the BBC and other mainstream media sites instead of people like Nux or even the Young Turks or any form of third-party independent media. And they're pushing for videos like this to be taken down. And in doing so, even YouTube itself is saying, we need you to speak out on this, because they've What is this? Shit. Birmingham police have come out and said, we don't want you to share this anymore. Stop sharing this. And the only reason people know about this, I was asking who the black girl was. Oh, I thought you were talking. No, it's just a random black girl. I thought you were talking about what did YouTube do now? I was explaining that question, but it took a while because this video is basically a lot of people think the reason for it. But no, the black girl is just a black girl who was masturbating or something on a train, but the picture of her by herself on the train with a bunch of quote-unquote white supremacists, this has been going viral. And dipshits like this think they deserve a Pulitzer Prize. And even Oren Schroyer, who's been getting a lot of flack lately, is saying you're retarded, basically, is saying that no, this like, and other people are pointing out where did I have that picture? Sorry, I really need to organize my shit. Yeah, like of the two here, who went home alive? The black girl surrounded by white supremacists, or the white girl who sat down in a group of black people and got stabbed for no fucking reason? And then some of them scurried off, and none of them did fucking anything. None of them even cared. None of them even offered her kind words. No one said, it's going to be okay, or anything. Or stay with me. And that's the third one that I'll never unsee. The first one is that first beheading video, when those all came out in the mid-2000s. Yeah. Like the perpetrator had already stormed off. And people said on this, like just a bunch of stupid kids fighting. And then it pretty much quells itself. But stupid teenagers doing stupid teenager stuff. I'm probably going to get tagged for this. But people are asking why there were no cops or anyone arrested for this. They probably were afterwards because it was recorded. But why there's not people... What is it? Good old-fashioned brawl. Oh, sorry. Wow, this teen takeover didn't make the news. It didn't make the news because, as this person said, no one is trying to kill a cop or stomp on the head like a group of... Not going to say it. But this is the strangest beach orgy I've ever seen. I mean, you know, some people love a good fisting. Just sometimes it lands in the face. Hassan Piker calls right... failed theater kids in response to his Kangman Lee. And then he's like, okay, bro, whatever, talking about how he's just a fat, failed theater kid. More of the same. Oh, yeah, and by the way, this girl here, mug shots, of course, because of course. Gotta love Hamas doing the thing. The liberal whites doing what they do and gluing themselves to things because protest, I guess. Firing squad, I probably shouldn't have played that on here. I love these AI memes. Hold on, let me get the guy that's on the ground. Yeah, beat him, fat white policewoman. Beat him. Finally finished my presentation about AI in the food industry. Oh, yeah? What's that all about? The Rock was thrown out of WB for Black Adam. That movie made $140 million its opening weekend. So Supergirl has zero chance to reach $140 million in its entire run. Reportedly, Black Adam needed to earn about $600 million to break even. Yeah, damn. And it got high, just not that high. Oh, and then speaking of Hassan and theater kids, this is Hassan being a failed theater kid. Gotta love that shit. Jewpool just having some awesome AI art. And this is something I wanted to watch. I love this dude's videos. He's sitting on the wrong side of this. I didn't even notice that. I didn't even notice. Bro.
The communists must attack your history. Why? Because history is what anchors you. It's what makes us attached to something. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug. History breeds an almost irrational attachment to things, an attachment that is more powerful than anyone can imagine. Erasing history is how you demoralize people, how you unmoor them and detach them from their society so you can take it from them and rewrite it in your image. Think of your country like a home. What makes your home special? It's not the marble countertops or the expensive furniture or the fancy appliances. It's the memories you have there. That backyard is where we got married. That living room rug is where our son took his first step. Hey, don't touch that. That was
Hey, thanks, Samuel, for the follow.
no matter how torn and tattered that thing is, you will never get rid of it. And you will fight anyone who tries to take it away. Why? Because you have history with it. You ever buy a new home? Remember those first few months? Even the first few years there, it doesn't feel like home. It could be a million times nicer than the crappy apartment you came from, but it doesn't feel like home for a long time.
And that's the crappy thing. I was stationed in Hawaii. It didn't start to feel like home until about 6 months before I had to leave. I bought a house before COVID, and I literally sold it. Met a girl. She had a nicer house than me. Thought we were in love. Sold the house. Well, I was going to rent the house, but then a buddy of mine who was in his 40s, he was about 10 years older than me, had a family of 3. I had a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath house. Asked if they could get approved for a loan, would I sell it to them? And you should have seen the look in his eye. And he had a lot of cancer scares, and unfortunately he was taken about 3 years later, I want to say. And I shouldn't have. I don't know. Like I feel like the house started to feel like home, and I'm very nostalgic for that house that they still live in. Well, again, he was taken about 3 years later, but I gave him. Well, it sounds like I'm jacking myself off here, but I could have, because me and the girl broke up like literally a week before COVID. I moved into my mom's house, and I had to spend a year and a half staying at my mom's house because I sold my house to them, and they promised that they would, when something else happened for them, they would pay me, a little bit extra, and they did. They spent about a little over a year in that house as a solid familial unit, and then he got sick again, not from COVID, but the cancer came back, but he had a great time. He got his weed license and smoked a lot of weed in his last days, and he was always a hell of a dude. And I miss him. He was one of the best bosses you could ever have, and a great guy. And he looked like the old guy from the Backstreet Boys, but I miss him. And as nostalgic as I am for that house, I'm glad that I sold it to them, because they got to have that in a home, that the first home that they owned in their 40s. And I know I didn't give it to them, but I know I made the right choice, because they got to have that, because I wasn't a dick, and I could have backed out for minimal cost on my part. But why take these people's hope? I wasn't going to put them out. They'd already made too many decisions. So I bit the bullet and went and stayed with my parents, my mom. And they got to have that. And I think it's a lot better. I gave a family of 5 a home for the last couple of, like, year or two, less than 2 years, with their dad. And they're all doing really good now. They are. Is that because of me? No, it's because they're awesome and they did what they did. But, you know, they got a house. And it's a nice house. But anyway, sorry. Enough jacking myself off here.
It's easy to knock down some walls, change the floor plan. If you have no memories to attach you to it, it's just wood and drywall. Who cares? Get rid of it. Memories make it a home, even the bad ones. Hey, remember when Dad hit his head on the rafter in the attic and we spent all night in the ER? That's the avocado tree I fell out of and broke my first bone. Isn't it weird how even the bad memories make us cherish a place? It's not like we long for those bad times, but bad times are part of what makes us stronger, a part of what makes us who we are. How can you resent those memories without fun?
And honestly, it's how you recover from those bad times that truly tests the strength of who you are. I wish I had learned that earlier.
Fundamentally resenting who you are. History is so important to humans that even bad memories anchor us to our home. And that's what the communist always starts with, the bad memories. Oh, we could get rid of that little story. We can knock down that statue. We can change the name of that street. That's a bad memory from our history. You don't want that memory hanging around. You're not a bigot, right? And slowly but surely, this wall comes down, then that wall gets sledgehammered. The rafter where Dad hit his head, that's gone. The rug where your son took his first step, that's gone. The gash in the wood floor where you stomped the glass on your wedding ceremony, that's gone and replaced with shiny vinyl planks. And now you've got a brand new home with no memories. Now what? Do you care what they do with it? Do you care what color they paint the walls? Nah. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I have no attachment to it. I have no memories with that. You love your home because of the memories you have there. And that's why the communist always must destroy your memories, destroy your history. If the communist wishes to take your home, he must first destroy your memory of it so he can erase your attachment to it and demoralize you. Mao destroyed what he called the 4 olds: old ideas, old culture, old customs, and old habits. If you call them olds, it makes them sound bad. You don't want that old thing. Get rid of it. But it is fundamentally human nature to cherish your history. We crave learning about our history, where we came from, who our ancestors were. That's human. But communism is an evil, anti-human religion, so it must destroy what makes us human. The communist destroys your history so he can take your home and rebuild it in his image. That's why it's your patriotic duty to celebrate today unashamed. It's okay to love America. Not only is it okay to love America, it's necessary to love America.
Yes.
We are the only bulwark against tyranny on this earth. When Europe descends into madness time and time again, it's our sons who cross the oceans to fight and die for freedom and human dignity. We don't let evil people destroy our history and rewrite it in their image. This is Independence Day. It's not just a number on the calendar. Don't say Happy 4th. That's commie gobbledygook.
No offense, but it sounds like that's some fucking commie gobbledygook.
We say Independence Day. Today we celebrate the men who reclaimed a beautiful slice of this earth and claimed it for God, for the values of freedom and rugged independence. Our history is messy. Our history is violent. Fuck yeah, it is, and that's why we love it. We aren't cowards. We don't turn our backs on the painful memories because they make us who we are. Be proud of our country, damn it. America is the birthplace of every great invention of the last 250 years. Like literally everything. Airplanes, spaceships, internet, telephones. As a country, we are batting 1,000. Not only is it a miracle that this radical experiment in self-governance even survived past 1776, but we are the champions of the world. Be proud of that. Be proud of your history. Millions of your ancestors fought and died to preserve it. Commie Mamdani's ancestors
ancestors never bled for this country. He has no history here, so he has no attachment to our home. He has no place to rewrite our history and lecture us about what our country stands for. So celebrate today. Show some American pride. Honor your history. Raise your flag. Raise a finger and say, fuck you, communists. This is our home, and you can't have it. Today we celebrate our Independence Day. God bless America.
Yo, based. Yo, Spencer Pratt's going to be huge. I hope he keeps up with this. I hope I hope the mayor election gets overturned. If not, I hope that the governor who he's been talking to puts him on his staff, giggity. And they do great things. They do great things. Like, sorry, a lot of violence, but yeah, guys, that's going to be it for today. I've gone a little bit over what I wanted to. But then again, I didn't start when I wanted to either. I'm going to start earlier and earlier. Probably going to start by 4:30 coming soon. And then end by at least 6:30. I'm going to wake up and actually start fashioning some things for the show. But I got to get my ass up. And then after the show, probably going to do a little workout, fitness, have some time to work out and such. And then get ready for work. And then, like I said, Charlie Kirk's death had a kind of a profound effect on me long term. And I feel for this guy, and I wish this guy the best. I truly do. Winky face from Nux. But I certainly appreciate the two of you, especially Yanuka and Shapeshifter, for being here so consistently and being so good to me. Yanuka, you're a lot of fun to watch and follow on X. I love seeing your growth on there and kind of envy you because I have no growth. I had a lot of growth, and I get a lot of views and such on there especially, but yeah. But it's all fun, the experience and meeting new people and all the things. But anyway, love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. And until then, this is Alfie Animus for the Associated Guests signing out.